Well, I'm joined now by the Conservative MP, Jacob Rees Mogg, and from Manchester by the anti-fracking campaigner, Tina Rothery. Jacob Rees Mogg, first, is this announcement today going to allow more fracking in what George Osborne's father-in-law called the desolate north?
Looking at a map of England, the south of England has more AONBs and the north of England has more national parks. Combined, it's probably pretty even that there are large areas in both the north and the south that will now have a considerably higher level of protection. So I don't think it's to do with the north-south divide.
Well, do you know what, though? If you look at what's been announced today, the Community Secretary will have more power to intervene, so he could quite easily protect, all those rural South Downs Tory seats, couldn't he?
No, because the Secretary of State has to act in a quasi-judicial position. If he randomly supported his Tory mates and put nasty things in Labour areas, the judges would be quite rightly down on him like a ton of bricks. So it doesn't work like that. And no sensible Secretary of State assumes his party will be in office forever. So if he could do that, then a socialist Secretary of State could do the same in return.
Tina Rothery, this could actually be good news in the north, couldn't it? Given that there are more, geographically speaking, there are more national parks in north of England and Scotland.
I suppose it depends on how you rate your news. I mean, for good news, we'd be looking at having a happy society where our children could grow up with fresh air and clean water and not run risks with those things. The good news would be the profits for shareholders in the industry, and that doesn't really affect us. Lord Brown, even the head of Quadrilla, came out and said it wouldn't lower our gas prices. So where are those gains for us?
But when you think about the fact that today there'll be more protection in national parks, that is potentially good in the north of England and Scotland, isn't it?
I'm so sorry, I missed a part of that, but you talked about the national parks, about protecting them?
Yes, and there's more in the north of England and Scotland, so that's...
Yeah.
To be
but,
welcomed,
that protection does come with a caveat, doesn't it? Which is that the Community Secretary, Eric Pickles, can overrule a local authority and say that it's in the country's best interest to drill anyway. So it's not much of a guarantee, is it? It feels a very weak promise that they made a lot of news out of something very weak.
Jacob Rees Mogg?
Section 116 of the guidelines says the exceptional circumstances that may be used by the Secretary of State to allow hydraulic fracturing to take place. They set a very, very high hurdle. This is a major protection for the most beautiful areas of our countryside, but crucially, it also allows us to begin to extract the reserve of 2,000 trillion cubic feet of gas, giving us security from Russia, a degree of separation from global markets, cheaper energy for poor residents of the United Kingdom who are living in fuel poverty, and it's good for industry, which would be more competitive.
Tina Rothery?
I'd like to know how he says it's cheaper energy when it's been confirmed that it will not lower gas prices.
But the chief of Quadrilla says
in the United States, the price fell from 10 cents per cubic foot
it's a different market. We sell on the European market.
I accept it's a different market, but nonetheless, in the US, it fell from 10 cents to 2.5 cents. The price went down by a quarter.
Market, Mr. Mogg.
Okay.
Even if we had a fraction of the benefit of the United States, it would bring lower prices, and it crucially brings energy security. We would no longer be dependent on Qatar or other overseas countries diverting their energy potentially to foreign markets if Russia got even more difficult and complicated and more sanctions were imposed.
May I ask
energy security is hugely important.
Let's bring Tina Rothery in.
Yes. Is that gas only going to be used for the UK, in your opinion?
Well, gas is actually quite expensive to transport, so the home market for gas is usually the market that gets the greatest benefit.
I know you're saying usually and maybes, but when we put our gas on the market, it goes into a European market. It is not earmarked for British use. I also wonder at the words exceptional circumstance. What's an exceptional circumstance when it comes to drilling in a national park or an area of outstanding natural beauty? What constitutes an exceptional circumstance?
OK, and on that exceptional circumstance, the Community Secretary can basically make his own decision on what those circumstances are.
No, he can't. It's set out in the National Planning Policy Guidelines, section 116, which sets out the circumstances, which includes things like the effect on the local economy, if that were a very substantial benefit for the local economy, and against the benefits from tourism from an area of outstanding natural beauty. It's a very high hurdle.
Today, the go-ahead has been given for potentially drilling in national parks.
I think you are looking at it the wrong way around. I think it's making it much harder for drilling in national parks, but probably, yes, the go-ahead has been given in other parts of the country, which is hugely welcome and important.
Tina Rothery, final word?
Essentially, then, that exceptional circumstance is if the drilling will bring more cash than the area of outstanding natural beauty does through its tourism, then we're going to say, OK.
That's one of the circumstances. It has to be exceptional. That just a little bit more money would not be exceptional.
It's based on how much more profit. So all of this is just an economic chat.
I'm afraid we've completely run out of time. Tina Rothery, Jacob Rees Mogg, thank you very much for joining me.